Pleasant good afternoon from the nation's capital, King's News Boom at 1. I'm Steve Compton. First, the headlines. President Joseph Boyka blasts officials of government for failing to improve citizen living conditions. Describes Liberia's big care problem as government official inability to care for the citizen. Ministry of Justice and partners launched anti-mob justice to end vigilantism justice and promote rule of law. Justice Minister Councillor Oswald Twell says the government will not tolerate mob violence. Several civil society organization petitions stand to lead June 17 We the People nationwide protest stand Chairman Boba Molu vowed to pressure government to address cardinal concerns. Away from home, Israeli military has professional failure lead to the killing of 15 emergency workers in Gaza last month. Details of these developments, the news bulletin. Voices of the news makers are all packaged. Taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the bulletin. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Up next is the Bulletin of News with Sam Andrews.
President Joseph Boyka has blasted his government officials for what he called failure to improve the living condition of the citizens. According to him, improving the citizen condition is a possible way of reducing national security threat and violent act, including mob violence, among others. He further questioned the impact of government officials on their various community in terms of making cardinal contribution that would directly benefit the people or sensitizing the residents about things that can undermine national development. The Liberian leader at the same time said Liberia's biggest problem is that officials of the government do not care about the citizens, something he said must change. He made the comments over the weekend during the official launch of the anti-mob justice campaign by the Ministry of Justice and partners. The Ministry of Justice and partners have officially launched an anti-mob justice campaign aimed at embarking on a nationwide awareness and promoting the rule of law over vigilantism justice. The campaign, which was launched in Monrovia Saturday, brought together officials of government, representatives of civil society organizations, security personnel, and other groupings, including ordinary citizens. Giving the overview of the campaign, Minister of Justice Oswald Twell declared mob violence a serious crime that threatens the essence of democracy and societal order, adding that the government would not condone or tolerate mob violence. He noted that the government is aware that in recent months, numerous acts of mob violence have escalated, alarmingly, which have culminated in the tragic loss of lives and the destruction of properties. The Justice Minister also said rumors, mistrust, and lack of faith in the justice system have fueled unrest, something he said the government would not turn a blind eye to, stating that lawlessness has begun to take root across all neighborhoods. According to him, the anti-mob justice campaign represents a renewed commitment to rebuilding trust in Liberia's justice system and cultivate a culture of respect for the rule of law. Councillor Twell at the same time challenged Liberians to choose dialogue over destruction, understanding over hostility, and action grounded in justice over what he called reckless abandon of mob rule. Also speaking, Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti said the alarming mob violence across Liberia is due to high-level trauma many Liberians are suffering from. She added, although there were cases of mob violence prior to the Liberian civil crisis, but it has sharply increased since after the crisis, something she said very scary for every Liberian. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Justice, appeared to be making significant progress in fulfilling its part of the legal agreement with the United States of America regarding the extradition treaty. As a result of this legal contract, the United States government wants the Liberian government to surrender one of its citizens, Othello Bruce, who reportedly committed a crime in the United States of America in 2012. Suspect Bruce is accused of allegedly raping his 16-year-old daughter in the United States of America and later escaped to avoid being prosecuted. The U.S. government has since made a request to its Liberian counterpart through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with several pieces of evidence along with suspect Othello Bruce's indictment to prove their claims against him. Liberia Solicitor General Augustine Fire, who is regarded as the country chief prosecutor, has taken seize of the matter and later filed an 11-count in red petition before the Moravia City Court to begin the legal proceeding for suspect Bruce's exit to the United States. Councillor Fire told judicial reporters over the weekend that the records in their possession show that suspect Bruce committed an act in the U.S. and later escaped to Liberia. A pro-democracy, a pro-grassroots advocacy organization, Solidarity and Trust for a New Day, has endorsed requests from several organizations to lead what is considered a nationwide peaceful protest in demand of police brutality, corruption, and the rule of law in the country. STAN National Chairman Molba Molu said he will personally lead the protest to ensure that government address a 10-count demand presented by the organizations. Addressing the press conference shortly after the presentation of the 10-count demand, Chairman Molu sent a strong message to President Joseph Boakai calling on him to begin addressing the issue on the harassment of petty traders. According to him, petty traders are being harassed by Moravia City Police, adding the government must also address the no-go zone of bike riders from the restriction zones and dismissal of Inspector General of the Liberia National Police and his deputy for operations. Meanwhile, the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day has also sent warning to the entire bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia over what it termed a questionable manner in which it handles the case involving the majority and minority blocks of the House of Representatives. Chairman Molba Molu warned against the Supreme Court listening to interferences from the executive branch and be a court that respects and interprets the truth based on the Liberian Constitution. Prosecuting and defense lawyers are expected to appear before the presiding justice in chambers of the Supreme Court on Monday, April 21, for legal conference. Monday's conference, according to our judicial correspondent, will center on state lawyers' petition to prohibit Criminal Code A resident Judge Roosevelt Willis' decision to approve the release of 106 pretrial detainees from the Moravia Central Prison. State lawyer Councillor Randolph Johnson has since filed a 12-count petition for a writ of prohibition before the presiding justice in chamber, questioning Judge Roosevelt Willis' action to restore the detainees' freedom. Criminal Code A resident Judge's decision to release the detainees was triggered by a petition from defense lawyers Councillor Sanin Kala and Councillor Aloysius Stowe, accused the government of Liberia of wrongfully keeping its clients in detention for more than 12 terms of court without litigation. They cited Chapter 18, Section 18.2 of the Criminal Procedure Law of Liberia as their reliance to file such petition before the court. The Revolutionary National Youth League of the Congress for Democratic Change has taken radical action by suspending, with immediate effect, Martin Farr, Secretary General, and Armstrong Manzia, Deputy Secretary General for Administration, for what it termed betrayal of the movement, sacred revolutionary principles. Delivering a press statement at the party headquarters in Congo Town, Alvin Wisef said the two individuals have now aligned themselves with a murderous regime and openly endorsed Samuel Koga. He indicated that supporting Koga and his political benefactors is to desecrate the struggle of the grassroots. Having Wisa also alarmed over what he described as dangerous ploy to hijack the Nema senatorial by-election, noting that a host of Unity Party appointed officials have violated Section 5.1 of the Code of Conduct, which states all officials appointed by the President of Liberia shall not engage in political activities, canvass, or contest for elected offices. CDC Youth League also alleged that Unity Party has flooded Niba County with 400 million Liberian dollars to buy votes, threatening officials, and twist the will of the people, emphasizing that Jeremiah Kuhn was seen conspiring with electoral magistrates in his Gunter farm to rig the outcome of the election. And Deputy Minister for Commerce and Small Business Jimama Wolokoli has described the due payment scheme launched by the Coalition for Democratic Change as a means to steal from the ordinary Liberian people for their personal gains. Wolokoli, a supporter of Unity Party Alliance in the presidential runoff election, said most of the people in the leadership of CDC do not have the ordinary people at heart. Speaking when she appeared on a radio talk show in Morovia, the former Deputy Minister of Commerce for Small Business said many Liberians are being victims of corruption, while those who corrupt themselves live in luxuries. She further challenged a Unity Party-led government to institute order that will correct the alleged failure created by the former ruling Coalition for Democratic Change-led government. It can be recalled in June of 2020, the National Executive Committee expelled Jimama Wolokoli from CDC days after former President George Weah suspended her as Deputy Minister of Commerce for Small Business on corruption allegation.
Sam Andrews there with the news bulletin is a regular feature on King's News Broom. 45 minutes news about Liberia and the rest of our world. One of the top developments we are following this afternoon, President Joseph Boakai blasts officials of government for failing to improve citizen living conditions. Described Liberia's big problem as government officials' inability to care for the citizenry. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Welcome back. Let's not take our first development. President Joseph Boakai has blasted his official for what he called failure to improve the living conditions of the citizens. According to him, improving the citizens' condition is a possible way of reducing national security threat and violent acts, including mob violence, among others. He further questioned the impact of government officials on their various community in terms of making cardinal contribution that will directly benefit the people and sensitizing the citizen resident about things that can undermine national development.
When you improve the people living condition, you improve the importance you play on them, they have to behave. So our problem in this country is that we don't care for people. I was here during the campaign to rally support, but after that, we need to show the people gratitude for the support they gave us by improving their lives. That's our problem. Are you going to tell me that the yellow boys are not important? It's not true. The motorcycle riders, the transport union, the LMA, these are people that make contribution to the society. You may go to the supermarket, but the LMA provide our food. And so for us, this is the time to take care of our people, not just their welfare, which includes mentoring, counseling. You go to all these places, sitting there, they start, what do they do? Did they hold meetings with their communities to educate them? This is the change we want to make. The community roads, the water. Who in this country doesn't want good road? Who in this country doesn't want good drinking water? You go to a community, somebody sells somebody land, or they take people land. The court rules, they go there, they all take cutlasses. If that was your land, what will you do? We haven't learned to live with each other. We haven't learned to know that everybody is important. Your child may have different toys, but every child wants toy from their children, from their parents.
Liberian President Joseph Boyka there speaking. The Ministry of Justice and partners have officially launched an anti mob justice campaign aimed at embarking on a nationwide awareness and promoting the rule of law over vigilantes and justice. The campaign, which was launched in Monrovia on Saturday, brought together officials of government, representatives of civil society organizations, security personnel, and other groupings, including ordinary citizens. Giving the overview of the campaign, Minister of Justice, Councilor Over Tweed, declared mob violence a serious crime that threatens the essence of democracy and society, although adding that the government would not condone or tolerate mob violence.
Start increasing mob violence that threatens the very fabric of our communities and jeopardizes the security and well-being of our dear people. This unfortunate reality compels us to confront the challenges head-on, for the repercussions of mob justice extend far beyond individual incidents. They erode public trust in our institution and jeopardize the stability of our beloved country, Liberia. We are very much painfully aware that in recent months, numerous acts of mob violence have escalated alarmingly, culminating in the tragic loss of lives and the destruction of property. Incidents in Biala Bom County, Bogomoyenta Lofa County, and Pinsbury Mosrado County demonstrated the deep despair that can arise when fear and distrust replace faith in our judicial processes. The violent outcomes of these confrontations are seen in the horrific treatment of vulnerable individuals and the wanton destruction of public property, starkly highlight the critical need for restorative justice and community resilience. These developments highlight the deep-seated challenges facing our nation, where rumors, mistrust, and lack of faith in the justice system are fueling unrest. Let me make it unequivocally clear. Mob violence is a serious crime that essence of democracy and social order. Today I stand before you not only as the Minister of Justice, but as a very concerned citizen who believes in the rule of law and our collective responsibility to uphold it. We cannot and we will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness that has begun to take root in our neighborhoods. Mob action in the action of any form of fair trial in which the accused are given a chance to defend themselves will not be tolerated.
Also speaking, Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti said the alarming mob violence across Liberia is due to a high level of trauma many Liberians are suffering from. She added that although there were cases of mob violence prior to the Liberian civil crisis, but it has sharply increased since after the crisis, something she said is very scary for every Liberian.
War is not the beginning of mob justice in Liberia. We had mob justice in Liberia before the war. I was 11 or 12 years old. My first interaction with mob justice when I heard them beating somebody in the middle of the night. We all ran outside. They said they called rogue. Everybody come and beat the rogue. And people were beating the rogue. I was 11 years old. That was about 46 years ago. That was way before the war. The war further exacerbated issues that we already had in the country. What do you mean the war made it worse? The war made it worse, and we went from beating rogues to now killing people, and killing people because we're angry, but also because we are a traumatized people. Our communities are traumatized, our homes are traumatized, we're all traumatized people, we really haven't even healed. And I think this can be it can be a really strong part of our healing process, how we can talk about the issues underlying mob justice. Why are people taking justice into their own hands? It's not only because of the broken systems in the judicial sector. It's because of broken systems at the family level, at the community level, where you've had child-headed households for decades, where you've had women struggling to do things on their own for decades, and now we're at a place where it's so bad that we're killing our brothers and sisters, taking law into our own hands. So what do we do about it as an administration? It's not only the work of the Minister of Justice or the Ministry of Justice and State Actors, as was said by others. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Youth and Sports, all of the actors who engage at the community level, we have to join and support this effort that the Ministry of Justice has started. All of us who have community engagements across different sectors, who deal with different community members, women, men, youth, children, in our core messages, we should have some messages that cut across the entire administration, across the entire, where we're at the community, everybody speak the same language. All children should go to school. There should be no gender-based violence. There should be no mob justice. Some core messages that cut across every sector, and this is one of them.
Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti there speaking earlier. You listened to Justice Minister Councillor Oswald Twe. Still with more development, a grassroots advocacy organization, the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day, has endorsed a request from several organizations to lead what is considered a nationwide peaceful protest in demand of police brutality, corruption, and the rule of law in the country. Stance National Chairman Moba Mol said he will personally lead the protest to ensure that government addresses a 10-count demand be presented by the organization. Addressing a press conference shortly after the presentation of the 10-count demand, Chebemolu sent a strong message to President Joseph Boakai, calling on him to begin addressing the issue on the harassment of petty traders.
On behalf of the people of the Republic of Liberia, in the midst of drastic inequalities, economic hardship, a deplorable healthcare system, injustices, police brutality, the president's demonstration of lawlessness, we have come on behalf of the people to declare the 17th of July as the day of the people and the day of mass resistance and national protest for change and good government. We will work with the people. We will ensure that we leave no stone unturned to make July 17th truly as a day of the people, working to make sure that this government that is now swinging in corruption will come to the realization that it was elected by the people to fight corruption and represent the interests of the people. On that day, change will be inevitable. That change will not be denied. We want to send a clear message to President Boakai that the people have spoken and we will act. We want to advise him to begin to contemplate a decision to ensure the will of the people will be carried out. Because unless that is done, the 17th of July will be the beginning of endless national protests that will be peaceful. And that protest will not end until the will of the people is respected and implemented to the letter. You want the police director and notorious deputy director. His hands are stained with blood. I'm talking about Nelson Freeman. You want them to be dismissed for the crimes of massacre committed in Kinjor, when 3 or more protesters were brutally murdered, and the caption for the protest, according to you, which I accept and endorse, is enough is enough. I accept and endorse is enough is enough.
That's Chairman Moba Mobile there speaking. Well, if you are just joining us, this is a reminder you are listening to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. We're taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Welcome back, and I'm back to this development. Chairman Moba Molu at the same time won against the Supreme Court listening to interferences from the executive branch and be a code that respects and interprets the truth based on the Liberian Constitution.
Stronger than this corrupt Supreme Court of Liberia. The Supreme Court has been compromised. They have sadly reduced themselves as a rubber stamp judicial system. And they need to be told the truth. And we don't fear them. We don't fear them. The Supreme Court will have credibility and be a court of the people, not a court of the president. The Supreme Court has been compromised because the judges on the bench of the Supreme Court are all being influenced by the executive oligarchy of the system of governance. And it is our responsibility as the people to speak truth to them without fear of them. And we are waiting to see how they will interpret the law in the legislative brouhaha on next Wednesday. We are waiting. Because if that interpretation is biased, if it is illegal, if it is found wanting, we the people will ensure that the right action at the legislature will be taken to restore governance, to restore sanity at the legislature. We do not fear being killed by a misguided, indisciplined police unit that has potential in killing innocent Liberian citizens. We ask the police to give way. We ask the government to give way. We ask the Justice Ministry to give way. Moa, not water, not M16 machine guns, not the power of the corrupt presidency can stop the will of the people. If anyone will be arrested, I will be arrested first. If anyone will be killed, I will be killed first. Not even my death will start the protest. So for those that are contemplating killing Moba Molu, it's a waste of their time because If you kill one Molu, there'll be hundreds of other Molu that will rise in opposition. Do not be afraid of President Boakai. When it comes to doing what is right and demanding your right, President Boakai is too small to stand in your way. Because you know what? All power is inherent in the what? In the people. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready for change in our country? Yes. Are you ready for July 17 protest? Yes. Are you ready as the people of this country? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready for enough is enough? Yes. Are you ready for enough is enough? Yes. Are you prepared for enough is enough? Yes. Are you ready to rescue civil servants? Yes. Are you ready to rescue those whose homes have been demolished? Yes. Are you ready to defend Kaka Riders? Yes. Kaka Riders? Yes. Are you ready to fight for the healthcare system to improve? Yes.
The solidarity and trust for a new Liberia chairman, Moba Molu, there speaking. And up to this next development, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Justice, appeared to be making significant progress in fulfilling its part of the legal agreement with the United States of America regarding the extradition treaty. As a result of this legal contract, the United States government wants the Liberian government to surrender one of its citizens, suspect Otello Bruce, who reportedly committed a crime in the United States of America in 2012. Suspect Bruce is accused of allegedly raping his 16-year-old daughter in the United States of America and later escaped to ever been prosecuted. The U.S. government has since made a request to its Liberian counterpart through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and with several pieces of evidence along with suspect Otello Bruce's indictment to prove their claims against him. Liberia Solicitor General Councilor Augustine Fayad, who is regarded as the country's chief prosecutor, has taken seize of the matter and later filed an 11-count in-read petition before the Monrovia City Court to begin the legal proceeding for suspect Bruce's extradition to the U.S.
Where the records show that the defendant, Otero Bruce in question, raped his daughter below the age of 16. And it is official that even in Liberia, when you do that, our criminal code, our penalty will hold you. But he did this in the state. They investigated him. They were conclusive based on the testimony of the rape victim and the murder. And so the indictment proved that he did the case. Upon hearing that he raped, he ran from there and came to Liberia. And there is a existing treaty between Liberia and the United States. This treaty has not been repealed because the psychology of treaty of that nature is if you have the treaty with a country and you don't give notice of withdrawing from the treaty, then the treaty is effective and they continue to operate until one party withdraw from it by way of notice. And they have not been done. So we are not doing anything extra. What we are doing is our obligation under the law. That when you go in conflict with the law will hold. We are not holding him. It is his conduct. When you travel in the other state and you behave properly, nothing will happen to you. But if you behave in such a way that you go in conflict with the law will hold you. It is why he is in hell.
You understand he committed the crime since 2012. Why the government is raising the issue now?
Well, it is not a government that raising the issue. It is a sister republic of the United States that raised the issue, and contents of the indictment are very cogent and correct. And so there is no way that he can easily escape. So that based on that, we have to create the instrument that we are party to effect. Where it is for the court to decide. The role of the lawyer is to present the case and do so properly. I believe I have presented a very, very cogent and very convincing case. I know the judge will decide. But we have made it in such a way that the judge will have no other option but to grant our petition.
Councillor Eggleston Fire there speaking. And now, away from whom the Israeli military has said professional failures led to the killing of 15 emergency workers in Gaza last month. An inquiry into the incident by the Israeli Defense Force found series of failings, including an operational misunderstanding and a breach of order. The deputy commander of the unit involved had been dismissed for providing an incomplete and inaccurate report during the debrief. A spokesperson for the Palestinian Red Crescent Society said the report was invalid and it justifies and shifts the responsibility to a president error in the field command when the truth is quite different. Well, this is how we come to the end of today's edition of the news program. But before we leave you, here are top stories. We close the photo. President Joseph Boyka blasts officials of government for failing to improve citizen living conditions. Described Liberia's biggest problem as government officials' inability to care for the citizen. Ministry of Justice and partners launched anti-mob justice to end vigilantism justice and promote rule of law. Justice Minister Councillor Alfred says the government will not tolerate mob violence. Several civil society organizations petition stand to lead June 17 as we, the people nationwide, protest as 10 Chebet more by more vows to pressure government to address the cardinal issues. In a way from whom Israeli military has said professional failure led to the killing of 15 emergency workers in Gaza last month. As though, I'd like to say many thanks to our news writers, editor, for making to this news presentation. Also, St. Andrews brought us the news bulletin. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.